We are in Parshat Hashvuah, the weekly Torah portion. Parshat Shmini, we're starting at the third Aliyah with the sin of Nadav and Avihu. And it's on page 592, chapter 10. It says, Veichu b'nei Aharon, and b'nei Aaron took. Who are the b'nei Aaron? Nadav Avihu. Nadav Avihu, and what did they take? Ish machtato, a man, each man took his fire pan. I'm pretty sure that's how they translate that. Fire pan, good. And they put upon them fire. That's why it's called a fire pan. Okay, that makes sense. Good. And they put upon this ketoret, this incense, v'yakrivu lifnei Hashem, and they brought before Hashem eish zara, a strange fire, or a foreign fire, however you want to translate that. Alien fire, it says. Okay. Asher lo tziva otam, that he did not command them to do. That's why, by the way, it's just simple pshat. That's a contradiction in terms, but okay, that simple means pshat. So, okay, but the pshat is that they weren't commanded to bring this, and that's why they will be punished. That's the simplest way to understand that. As a matter of fact, it says, we're going to go through a couple of things, but it says the Rashbam, Rashi's grandchild. Actually, Rashi doesn't comment upon this at this point. He'll come to the next one. But he says, Vaychu b'nei Aaron Nadav Avihu kodem sheyatza eish milifnei Hashem, before the fire came forth from Hashem, kavar lakchu each machtato, each man had already taken his fire pan lahakti ketoret lefanim al mizbach hazahav, to give the incense, to burn the incense inside on the golden altar, Sharei Ketoret, Shashachat Kodemet Levarim, because perhaps behold, the Ketoret of the morning preceded the burning of the limbs, and not Behen Eish Sarah. So they put upon this a strange fire, Asher Lo Tziva Otam, Moshe B'Yom Hazeh, that Moshe, who did not command them, it's not Hashem, but rather Moshe, that's Rashbam's putting in, that Moshe did not command them on this day, Sha'afa Pish B'Sha'ar Yamim, even though on the other days, remaining days, Ketiv V'Natnu B'nei Aaron HaKohen Eish Al Mizbeach Hayom, that B'nei Aaron would give, the children of Aaron HaKohen would put fire on the Mizbeach Hayom Lo Shiva. But today they were commanded. V'lo ratza Moshe sheviu eish shel hadiyot, and Moshe did not desire that they would bring the fire of a commoner, if you will, because they were watching for the fire to come down from above. So if you're going to bring your own fire, then you're going to lessen the miracle. V'lo tov hayom lahavi et zeh. And today was not the proper day to bring it. In order that they would sanctify the name of heaven. Shiadu Akol, because everybody would recognize, or everybody would know, that the fire is coming from Shemayim. And that's, we also find the same incident with Eliyahu, when he said, the fire they did not put the Fishaya wrote the Kaddish Shemaim, because he wanted to sanctify the name of Hashem via Eish Mamala, with the coming down of fire from above. Okay, so Rashbam is looking at this and saying, who didn't command them? Moshe. How do most people understand that? Hashem didn't command him. Okay, it didn't command them. In other words, it wasn't what he was doing. And how do I know that? Because if you go back to the previous parsha, wherever it is, it says, it ends off with, let me see if I can find it really quickly. It's in Parshat Tzav, it says that, the last verse is V'yas Aaron v'anav v'kol devarim asher Hashem b'yad Moshe, that Aaron and the sons did all that the things that Hashem commanded through the hand of Moshe, and via Moshe, and that's to say that they didn't change anything. While the very next verse, namely in B'yom HaShmini, I believe Rashi brings down. No, he doesn't say it here. But Rashi brings down later on that it was limiting, that they didn't do anything, they didn't add or subtract over there, but they added in this particular place, and that they shouldn't have done. Okay. So I again, I don't know exactly where it is, but I remember there's a Rashi like that. Yeah. Okay. Either that or a commentary on Rashi, whatever the case is going to be. So let's go on. And that's how the Rashbam understands it. The Kedas Kenim says what is this strange fire? So first he says they put upon a ketoret, pirush al ha'esh, they put this ketoret, this incense on the fire. Ki b'shum makom l'matzinu ha'ktara al ha'machta, because we never find in any place that you put ketoret on a fire pan. So what's going on there? So it must be on the fire they put it. Okay. A strange fire that they were commanded. Kolomar kavar hizhir alehem. It was already warned upon them. Shlo la'asot, that they shouldn't do it. Kidichtiv, as it says, lo talu eish zara, that a strange fire should not be brought up. V'gam lo tziva otam. And also, he did not command them. Shlo hatira, he also didn't permit it. Okay? Atalahem lefi sha'ah, that it wasn't permitted now for this moment. Because sometimes Hashem forbids something, umatiro, then he permits lefi sha'ah according to the time. The Gadol Shmo Bagoyim, to make his name great amongst the nations. Again, like we find in the story of Eliyahu at Har Carmel, Mar Carmel, Bama al Pia Dibor, that he brought it up on this Bama, this high place that normally we were forbidden to bring it up on sacrifices in the time of the temple. It was only supposed to be brought in the temple, but in order to make God's name great, so Bishah he told Eliyahu he could do that. Okay, so the same thing would be here again. That's why we're emphasizing that God didn't command them. Yeah.
So why was it a problem? I'm trying to remember.
Where was the problem? Where?
This here is going off of they were killed because God didn't command them. Whereas before we went over things saying they were punished, killed because Moshe didn't command them.
Well, again, there's an argument as who was the one who's commanding.
Right.
That's an argument. So I can't take both. I can always say God is speaking. I mean, Moshe is speaking in the name of God. Fine, but there's two. The Rashbam is saying simply. He's going to simple understanding. Who didn't command them? All the way through. Who's commanding them? Moshe. So Moshe didn't command them. Other commentators are saying no. This is not coming from Moshe. It's coming from God to Moshe to tell the people. But who is it? In other words, who is the one who was commanding? Not who's giving the message. I can command you to tell him to do something. It doesn't mean you're commanding him to do something, right? Okay. So the same thing here. Is Moshe who's explaining the command and they didn't listen? By the way, that will feed into what the Kli Yakar is going to say. Or is it God is speaking to Moshe to tell the people, to tell the Kohanim not to do this? Or actually, he wouldn't say not to do it. He just didn't command them to do it. Okay, and so what the Dasakim is saying is that sometimes Hashem, depending on the time, will command you to do something that's not normally commanded, that's normally forbidden. And the example was Eliyahu. There was something normally is forbidden. It was normally forbidden to bring up a sacrifice on a bama, on an altar outside of the temple precinct. That was forbidden. But Hashem allowed it at this juncture for Eliyahu. So maybe here you would think that Hashem allowed it to bring this ketoret, and then the Torah is testifying, they weren't commanded. He didn't command them to do this. Again, who's the he? So it's either Hashem or Moshe, but it's the same. Bottom line is it's going to be the same thing. And the other strange thing about this, and everybody's bringing this up, is it would normally be done. It's just today it wasn't supposed to be done. You see, because today is a consecration of the Mishkan. So you understand? So normally it would be done, but today, that's what they want to emphasize. Today it wasn't supposed to be done. Okay. Nadav and Avihu. Right. Nadav and Avihu.
We've not yet gone over why.
Well, we didn't know. We didn't go over what happened to them. We only said that they weren't commended.
They weren't, okay.
We didn't say anything else.
Okay.
But we're looking at why does the Torah need to say that they were not that he did not command them? That's the important thing at this point. In other words, the Torah added. In other words, they could have just said that they brought a strange fire, and then we can argue. Obviously, if a strange fire, it means that they weren't commanded, right? I mean, that's obvious. Because what does it mean, a strange fire? So they have to start looking and saying, what does that mean? Okay, and the last one we'll do on this particular thing is the Baal Torah. Oh, I shouldn't say the last thing, but I will go further before we go back. Okay, so Ashir Lot Siva, that was commanded. Ein Lomar Lot Siva doesn't say not that he did not command. Lahavi Eish Zara, that he did not command to bring a foreign fire. V'gam Lot Siva Shalo Lahaviu. It also doesn't say he didn't command them not to bring it. Ela Perush Asher Tzivoy Shalo. It's really just explaining Asher Tzivoy that was commanded of the negative. Tzivotam commanded them V'lo L'chol Tzaval Shemaim Shelo Tziviti. And it's just bringing up an interesting point. Okay, fine. Next. So now let's see what happens. V'ateit Eish L'fnei Hashem. So the fire comes out from before Hashem, v'tol chalotam, and ate them, devoured them, vayamutu lifnei Hashem, and they died before Hashem. So Rashi kicks in and says, Rashi said, okay, he didn't want to say anything about it. Rather, now he speaks why they die. Why they die. So Rabbi Eliezer Omer lo metu b'nei Aharon ela al yedei shahoro halacha b'fnei Moshe Rabban. Rabbi Eliezer said the only reason they died was because they taught a halacha in front of their Rebbe, namely Moshe. For Rebbe, that's number one. And what's going on? Okay, that's the first explanation he brings down. And he says, what is the problem? The Siftei Chacham explains, Mashe kasha al zeh, what was Rashi's problem on this? He said, normally you can't have a punishment without a warning. In other words, I have to warn you before I punish you. So he says, I'll explain that in a few minutes. And then Rashi says, the other side of that argument is Rabbi Yishmael Omer, what Rabbi Yishmael said, it was not that they taught a halacha in front of their Rebbe, or in other words, in place of their Rebbe. Rather, they drank wine, and then they entered into the Mikdash. And so that's why Kohanim on Simchat Torah duchen in the morning rather than in Musaf where it normally is. Because on Simchat Torah, people normally make Kiddush after Shacharis because it's a very long davening. So, and when you're making Kiddush, normally you're going to make it on wine. And you have to have a revius of wine, 3 to 4 ounces, whatever that revius is of wine. And since a person would have that with nothing else, they are considered drunk at that point, even though they're really not drunk. But as far as the service is concerned, they are considered drunk. So that would be a negative on you. And here you're going to use God's name to bless the people. So that's why we say, no, we don't want to do, because we don't want to run into the problem of Nadav and Avihu. And so we duchen, we say the Birkat Kohanim in the morning of Simchat Torah. It's the only time you go out in Galut, you'll see it. Yeah.
Just as an aside.
What?
Just as an aside. The perpetuation of that, we brought it over because of Nadav and Avihu, but that's for the sacrifices. It's still with us. Kind of the idea that the Kohen can't be drunk when whoever's leading the services can't be drunk with whatever amount that was, the 3 ounces or whatever. But that brought over similarly to like the prayers replacing the sacrifices. That was brought over as well because we just had that.
Okay, so you said something I didn't say. So as far as a person leading the congregation and not being drunk, that's not a matter of this. That's a matter of, it's not within the proper conduct of the congregation. In other words, the person leading the congregation is being my lawyer before God. That's a shlich tzibor, is a messenger of the congregation. And so for a person to be a messenger of the congregation, you'd have to ask yourself, would you want to have a lawyer who is a little what's it called? Drunk, inebriated, thank you. Inebriated, representing me in the court of law. I think most people would say no, they don't want a person who is inebriated representing them in the court of law. So why would I want that same person or that same type of person to present for me in front of the master of the universe? So it's not a matter of learning from here, it's a matter of the conduct, what the kavod hasipa, the honor of the congregation. Here, when it comes to this, so we have a commandment that the Kohanim have to bless the congregation. They are God's vessels, as it were, to bless the congregation. And so again, if I'm going to learn from Nadav and Avihu what I should and should not do, so from here we learn that we're making that is right. We're making that jump, okay. But that is not to do with tefillah being in the place of korbanot.
Okay, they're both about. Cause I just saw like he was inebriated when he brought sacrifices, so sacrifices becoming prayer. The whole
again, he wasn't being a sacrifice. He was bringing according to Rabbi Yishmael, he was a little inebriated, but they were only brought the ketoret. Not animal sacrifices. So, I mean, it's a sacrifice of a type, but it's not the same thing. Okay. But the point is that you have, we bring that over, yes, to learn about, it wouldn't be a proper share if he did. I have that sort of voice, I guess, okay. So it says, Teda, you should probably get a cup of coffee or a cup of hot chocolate or something. Okay. You have to put something stronger in the water. Teda. So he said, Rashi is Teda, Sha'acha mitatan. After their deaths, Hisir Notarim, so the remaining people were warned. That they should not enter in it. How do you say the word? Inebriated, thank you. Inebriated, I can certain words that. It's not even my vocabulary. Okay, they should have become inebriated to the mikdash. Mashal Melech, Shayalo Ben. Okay, so but that's where you're learning it from. Now the Sifta Chomim again says the Pirush Asher Lo Shivaotam. He says, now look at the words that he did not command them. Eno Sivat Mitatam. That was not the reason for their death. Ella Lahodia Shem Atzmam Hitnat Vubo. Rather, it was to inform us that by themselves they decided to bring it. They wasn't commanded to bring it. At Aharon, like Aharon was commanded, namely to kachet egel, to take an egel, a calf. Uperish bekarvatam be'ek karvatam. So it explains that in the time that they brought it, kirvatam velo shabavor eish zarametu, and therefore it was not a matter of they brought an eish zara, foreign fire, and that's why they were killed. Ele ikar mitatam haita mepnei shtoyayim. But really, according to this opinion, the main reason for their death was that they were inebriated. And were not for the fact that Hashem wanted to sanctify Himself through their hands, he wouldn't have killed them now either. Because really they had incurred the death penalty from before. When they looked at him, if you think back to Parshat Mishpatim, it says that the Atzile, the strong men, looked up and they saw Hashem and so on and so forth, right? It's a very esoteric term that they're saying. So he says at that point, they were eating and drinking, they looked to Hashem, they saw Hashem, well, they were chayev to die at that point, and Hashem didn't want to punish them there. He waits till now. In other words, we have to fill up your arrogance. Well, we're going to fill up your arrogant status as arrogance level, and when you hit there too much, we have to take you out. That's what you're saying.
So did they not repent from looking at God?
I guess not. You have to know that you did something wrong to repent. Right? Okay. And they didn't die on this day. Shaya Simcha Yisrael, because it was Simcha for Israel at that particular day. Im lo horu halacha b'yom zeh, And if they would not have taught the halach on that particular day, so look forward, he says, Kisham Evi O Dat Rav Yossi Glili. Also, if we bring the opinion of Rav Yossi Glili, Shamar Al Kariva Shetsu Lifnei V'Lifnim, May too. He also says that the reason they died is because they brought this incense to the inner sanctum. Rabbi Akiva Omer V'Shabnei Shneihem May too, and Rabbi Akiva says they died for both those reasons. They weren't commanded to, and they brought the inner sanctum. He has this because of four things they died, and what were they? Al Akriva, they brought it. Al Akrava, Shekrivu Korban, Shnastavu, they brought something they weren't commanded. Al Ejzara, for the foreign fire. Mibeda Kirayim, and Iksu, the Al Shalom 877, and they also didn't ask counsel from each other. Okay, so that's what happens. Now, let's go for the Kli Yakar, because the Kli Yakar goes at length looking at what they did. And again, each one is going to be different. So the bottom line was, what we're saying is, what did I always tell you? When there's an argument as to how something happened, what does that really mean?
There's more than one reason.
Either we don't know. In other words, we're looking at the Pesukim and we're trying to figure out from the Pesukim what happened. When it comes to Shtoye Mayim, when it comes to they're inebriated, the reason we say that is because the very next Parsha, after them cleaning themselves out, as it were, it's so Hashem, Vayomer Hashem what's his name? Aaron, don't drink. He says, Yam Sheikh Al Taisht. So don't drink. So we're making a connection there. So for Rebbe, for the opinion who says it's drinking, for Rebbe Yishmael, it makes sense. Because you're connecting Parsha to Parsha. For when it says the other ones, they taught a halacha before him or some other reason. So that's not as clear. Okay? Now let's look at what, again, the Kli Yakar says, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, what? The Kli Yakar is the name of his book. I'm not sure who the Kli Yakar was. You have to look in the, he was, actually it's right here, in the Art Scroll. The Art Scroll is very sweet that way. They tell you who these people are. The Kli Yakar is
that vessel for something?
That's his name. That's his book, I mean. The Kli, that's spelled probably Kuf. Okay. Sorry? Kli Yakar, no. Kli Yakar is, no, the Kli Yakar means precious vessel.
Those are a vessel of something.
Precious. So he says, a popular commentary on the Torah by Rabbi Shlomo Ephraim Lunchitz. He lived from 1550 to 1619. He wrote yeshiva in Lemberg and rabbi of Prague, one of the leading Polish rabbis of the earliest 17th century. Okay, if you want to know who these people are, by the way, just go back to in the bibliography. It starts on page 1297, and you can find out all about all these people, the Abarbanel, and the books that they wrote, and so on and so forth. The Art Scroll really did a fantastic job that way. And I'm not sure if everybody appreciates what they've done, but I do. So, if you ever want to know who it is, anytime they quote somebody, they give you the bibliography and they tell you who he is. Okay, so again, there's Lunchitz. So he says, "B'mahot chayzet Rabu adei opi alkut." So with this sin, there's a lot of there's a lot of ideas that go on with this. Masik b'shem Rabbi Mani al shnitz v'yayin according to Rabbi Mani. So it was because he entered in it drunk. And another one is because they entered without washing their hands or their feet. There's a special way you have to wash your hands and feet. By the way, that's also why we wash our hands. We don't wash our feet, but we wash our hands before davening, right? Before you come to davening, you're supposed to wash your hands. And some say they were missing clothes. They came in without all the necessary clothes on. And that was the me'il, the upper garment. And here's another one. They had no children. Shouldn't have done it. They were young kids. They didn't get married. And of course, now in the opinion says not only didn't they have kids, but they have wives. Again, apparently, I'm not sure how old the kids were, but they didn't have wives.
So they were killed because they didn't have wives, or
they were doing a service while having a wife.
Oh, you're supposed to. That.
It's not an Isser, but we're looking to see why they were killed. So they're giving all these things. And another opinion says, Al Shahar Halacha Bifnei Moshe Rabban, because they taught Halacha in front of Moshe. And another opinion, Al Shahim Ahalchin Omrim Matai. Now here's a harsh one. Whoever was writing this one, it was not, didn't have much, I mean, it's a Gemara, but you'll see what I mean. Al Shahim Ahalchin Omrim, on that they were going and saying, Matai Yamutu Beitzu Kenem Halalu. When are these two going to die? And then you and I, Nadav and Avihu, both of us, will be the leaders over the congregation. So when Moshe and Aaron are going to die, so we can take over.
When his dad and uncle die.
Right. Okay.
Who?
They're not saying who's saying who. It's just Yesh Omer is the point. And so that wouldn't be another problem. Okay, Omrim She'avon Ha'egel She'asa Aaron Garma Lehem. And now another opinion says, no, they didn't do anything. It was really, they were being punished because of Aaron making the Egel Azav, the golden calf. And that caused it. V'darshval Zeh, Pasuk, Yishalem Shnaim L'Reu. And that's, we get that from the verse that says, you pay double fold to your friend, to his friend. In other words, I stole $1, I have to give you 2. Yeah.
So, if they were killed because of the golden calf, or because of Aaron,
right,
as like a punishment for that.
Yes.
What was the thing? It was the, right, because I mentioned before they brought an alien fire.
Right.
An alien fire.
Right.
Then, why mention the alien fire if that's, it's like, they seem to disagree, because the alien fire means it's on them. But if it's about Aaron, then it's on him. They seem to not be the same.
What you're looking at is, first of all, if I do something wrong, but I was not warned about it, you cannot kill me. Okay? They brought a strange fire, but the point is they were not warned, you cannot bring a strange fire. So if they were not warned, so why are you killing them? That's the question, really. That's their whole question. Since I was never warned that I couldn't do this, and so I was never warned I couldn't drink before doing certain things, so I was never warned about certain things, so then how can you suddenly kill me because I wasn't commanded? On top of that, this stuff, again, if you follow some of the commentaries we read, it's just today that we weren't commanded, but normally we were commanded. So imagine, if you will, every day we have, every Monday and Thursday, we have a 7:45 minyan, right? And what happens? During Chol HaMoed, I trick everybody, and I say, even though I put it down on paper, it's 8 o'clock. So what happens? Somebody comes to 7:45, and they say, well, why aren't people here? I say, Baruch Hashem, you're here on time. Okay, you came here early, relax. But that would be an instance of, nobody was warned him. He would have come normally at his normal time. And everybody has their normal times to show up, whatever that normal time is. It's really not time that, in other words, we call minyan 8, so you show up 8:05, 8:05, whatever you guys show up. But it's always consistent. Yeah, right. You should know that. It's always consistent. And you always have to play catch up as a result of that. But it's consistent. If people show up, that's why I know that if I wait a little longer, somebody at 8:15, 8:16, somebody's going to walk through the door too. Without giving names. Okay? I know the times because you're consistent. You're consistently late, and that's your time to come. That's what I say. That's what I always say to people. That, people, you can call them in whenever you want, but people will, in other words, if I would call it at 6:30, you would show up exactly 7 minutes late. Because that's what you do. Okay? I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying that, Say again?
You have a track record.
Right. But that's what it is. I once made services 15 minutes, or not here, 15 minutes early because of the Shema, and somebody came the same amount of time late that he normally would. And I said, but you showed me you can now come on time. Why don't you come on time? I am on time. On time for me. Okay. But So, but that's what it is. Okay, so now you understand? So we're trying to figure out why these kids died.
Right.
Was it they were married? They taught a halacha? Was it all of the above? Could have been all of the above. Who knows? But that's an easy way to get out of it. Again, we're trying to figure out, really narrow it down because they weren't warned.
Right.
If they were warned, there's nothing to talk about. But once I'm not warned, I have to figure it out. So v'chol l'deod halalu, and he said. Now the Kli Yakar says, all of these thoughts, even though they all can hang their hat, as it were, on something in the psukim. The pasuk itself contradicts all of these people. As it says, that they brought before them a fire that they weren't commanded to bring, that he did not command to bring. So if Yaakov was going like you, it says clearly, Eish Zaraj Elosivatam. What are you bothering me for? It's pretty clear. Okay, it's pretty clear. It's shot. They brought a fire. They weren't commanded. God struck them down. God is very. You don't like what I'm doing? Bang! I'm dead. Okay, done. Okay. At the same time, the Kli Yakar has to watch out. By the way, I can condemn everybody all I want, but these people were there before me. Okay, so if somebody's here before me and they are certainly from the Gemaras, and now I'm just going to say, they're all wrong. No, I better be able to do something more than that, especially when I come from 1550. It's just not. You're not going to make it into the books if you just rip off everybody like that. So he says, "Okay, chal al alai chava bior therefore, I feel obligated. It falls upon me," he says, the obligation to explain and interpret these different deot, these different concepts. And to say that all of them can find a source from this verse. Because it was difficult for them. Although Kavar Nemar, surely it also says, not nu b'nei Aaron kohanim eish, that the sons of Bnei Aaron gave fire. Shemitzvah lahavi min hediot. So we see that it is a commandment to bring it from the common kohen. So how could it then say that he didn't command him to do it? No, if we have a command, they're going to do it. So now you're going to say he didn't command him to do it. Today he didn't command to do it, like we learned. But otherwise, he commanded to do it. And it was not like the words of the Ma'ari, who said that they took the fire of the Ketoret from the Mizbeach that went up Sharei Tzivul Zeh Haya Acharei Mo Bnei Aaron, because that was what they were commanded. And the next parashot, next three parashot down, where it says Acharei Mo Bnei Aaron Sham Ne'amar, and over there it says Lakach Malo Machtav Galeche Eish. The Pnei Hashem, you should take the fire pan of the coals of fire before Hashem. Al Kain Roy the Faresh Eish Zerazu Al Sad Zarot. So now, therefore, it's proper to explain this foreign fire Al Sad Zarut on the side of its foreignness for the Remez Al Sha'ad Devarim Shem Zube Esha, and to go to the hint to figure out what the hint is of what this Eish Zara is. Because according to the person who said that they drank wine and they were inebriated, so he was looking at that Eish Zara, that term Eish Zara, the foreign fire, as speaking of the wine that burns within a person like fire. Huh? You ever see a drunk? Come on. The expression is nichnas yayin yatzat zod. When wine enters, the secrets come out. In other words, people like to talk. Loose lips sink ships.
Right. I also know when people drink wine, people say it burns. So I guess that would mean.
No,
They're not supposed to.
No, it's a figurative sense. It's not literally it's burning you as it goes down. It's just you start. It can burn you. You say stupid things. Okay. K'moshe Ketuv b'me'ach Rishoneh shev yayin yadlikim. Okay. But who had luck on mamash when the sreifa that was okay. He says it was a real fire, real burning from the fire. Shesarat bekirabam that was burning inside from the wine. Even though it says you shouldn't drink wine or old wine, or you shouldn't drink. Still, it wasn't said yet. So it wasn't said. So haya lehem leida isvar. So they should have known it from logic. One is not allowed to come into the gate of the king. For who? Shikor, and he's drunk. You don't go before the king drunk. Just common sense. V'raya gadola de'azu. And it's a great proof for this. From Ketuv, what's written in Exodus, when it says, to the strong men amongst Israel, namely Nadav and Avihu and the elders, who are eating and feasting while looking and seeing the seven heavens as were ripped open. Okay? And God didn't kill them for that. From here it follows that they were all fit to be killed on that day. Why would they should have been killed? Because they were eating and drinking and allowing their eyes to feast, as it were, upon the divine Shekhinah from in the midst of a hearty heart. Because they were eating and drinking. Avin Rosal, so the rabbis say, that Hashem did not want to mix tragedy with the simcha of the Torah. Okay, so vehimtin lahem ad yom zeh. So he waited to this day. He waited to the day of consecration. I'm not sure why he would decide to wait when the Mishkan is being consecrated as compared to the other day. But okay. Apparently, that was a bigger simcha than this. Fakasha ma yom yomayim. That's what the Kliyakar says. What's the difference between this day and that day? V'yoshayu gam yozeh nikras simchat libo. It also was a joyous day. It doesn't make sense. Shekein dash v'razal yom chotanto zeh matan Torah v'yom simchat libo zeh chanukat bnei mikdash. The day of the chasana, that was the in other words, the day of the wedding was Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, and the day of the Simchat of Libo, the purging of the heart, that was the consecration of the Beit HaMikdash. So God logically should have waited longer, right? It's a matter of you didn't want to stop the festivities, so wait a little longer. So Ella Lefi should be Yom Zeh Chazru V'Shanu. But since today they went back and they repeated their folly, namely Vayakrivu Lifnei Hashem Eish Zara, that they brought an Eish Zara, Asher Ba'ara B'Kirbam, that was burning in their sides, Mitzad Yayin, because of the wine, Mitoch Rov Shtiya, and because of all this drinking they were doing, Ba'u Lifnei Hashem, they came before Hashem Asher Lo Kedat, which was not proper. Okay, Hashem didn't want to give him a second chance. You had the first chance. You asked, didn't they do teshuva? Well, let's assume for 1 second they did teshuva. What is the real test of teshuva? Not doing it again. You get into the same situation, not doing it again. Here, they decide they're going to eat and drink or whatever they were doing. They drank and they brought, according to the opinion, it says they were drinking. So Hashem said, that's it. You did it twice. That's game over. You should have known, because otherwise it would have appeared in their eyes that this is permissible. Why? Because a person who does a sin, and he recognizes the sin, but then he repeats the sin, he thinks it's permitted to do the sin. Why? Because you weren't punished the first time, correct. That's what we call cognitive dissonance. And then if I got away with it the first time, so how can I do it again? I knew it was wrong because I got away with it. So it must be that really nothing's wrong with it. Okay, so that's what it says. The Gemara says that. It's an amazing Gemara. The Gemara knew it long before any psychiatrist came up with that, the term cognitive dissonance. But nonetheless. So v'alkein ne'emar le'Aaron achremo shnei banav. That's why it says to Aaron after the death of his two sons, Sivui bezot, he was commanded in this Yavo Aaron el Kodesh that he should come to the Kodesh without drinking. Biyom. He should come to the sanctuary without drinking. B'yom Som Kippur, Yom Anot, Adam Nashoki, Az Hu Ba Bachna. On the day of Yom Kippur, he should come humble, L'fnei Bora'o, before his Creator, Lo Mitoch Leiv Gas, and not from a haughty heart, Ki Hayayin, Boged, Gever, Yeher V'lo Yinaveh, because wine makes you a Boged, a rebel against God, so you don't want to do it. And so it's interesting too, because wine is also what we use to sanctify the situation, right? Okay, but you say you have to drink responsibly. Okay. Say it again?
Play and drink responsibly.
That's right. So, and according to that answered drinking. Now he says, according to the Mandiamo, according to the person who says that he didn't marry women, so the fire of desire, of lust, burned in them, because anybody who's not married, male hirhore avera, is filled, he says, with musings of sin. We're talking about sexual sin. Okay? So min eish azara varotachin kilkulu brotchen neduno. So he says from an eish zara on the burning, they spoiled it and they were judged with that. Gemara, and also you find that in the Gemara. Noraki bi Amram al chemdat inashem haboyer bekirbo ke'esh norat. That for the desire of women that burns and the inside is like fire to flax. Okay, so you don't want to be that. Okay, so you want to be married before you're doing all these things. So hurry up. Okay, and so the Mandi Amr says, what?
We're not calling it good.
I don't hear you.
We're not calling it good.
You don't have to be a Kohen. He's talking to everybody. He says you burn your desires are going to kill you. Okay.
Sacrificing to God.
Right. So he says that they weren't wearing the coat. Yeduah sheme'il mechapir al lashon hara. What was some point about the coat? Because the coat is what atones for lashon hara. Ve'elu sipru lashon hara al Moshe ve'Aaron. And they told lashon hara about Moshe and Aaron. Ve'amru matai yamutu beit zekanim halalu. When are these two going to die? Ratzu bezeh she'enan ro'oyin liyot manhigim ki im mitzad ziknatam. The desire was that they were not fit to be the rulers, the ones who were conducting the people, because of their. The only reason they were doing it because they were old, lo mitzad ma'alatam, and not because of their level. V'chol mispar lashon hara makriv eish zara gechalim ba'aro mimenu. So anybody who speaks lashon hara, it's as if he brought in foreign fire, and the coals will burn from him. Okay, so you don't want to do that. It's all talking about the fire. It's it's coming from Mishlei. That the bow and arrows. That's what it's called. Okay, they shoot fire and everything else. Fine. So what are you giving to it? What are you adding to it? Lashon Remiach. He said Giborish Nunim. Again, this is from Tehillim. So lechein do know gam hemabei. So that since they were doing what burning people up as were with their words, so they were judged also with fire. V'ilu lahayu levushe me'il. But now, if they would have been wearing their me'il, haimachapir aleihem al lashon hara, that would have atoned for the lashon hara that they were speaking.
Wait, what's what? Bows and arrows?
What?
What's the bow and
And
arrows?
no, it's from Tehillim, from Mishlei. It's a verse. I'm not translating it, but it's saying when you throw the arrows, it kills, and so on and so forth, and it's like lightning.
No, lashon hara.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought like actually shooting bows and arrows and killing people.
No, lashon hara. It's comparing them.
Right.
Right. So that's why they were killed with fire. Like I said, if they were in the ill, that would have been atoning for their lashon hara. V'yichlol dimyon ha'esh mida gasot, and again that includes this concept of fire in the trait of arrogance. Kikol gas ruach rosalalot ma'ala, because every arrogant person wants to go higher and higher. Keteva esh, just like the nature of fire that wants to go up higher and higher. Okay. Dino be'esh, they were again judged with fire. Kamavura lamala, it says above in the Parshat Tzav. Alam Rizal, who ha'ola al mutam, okay, call Megal, Nidon be'esh, and was arrogant, again is judged by fire. B'nei Aharon hagisu libam b'akravazu. So B'nei Aharon were arrogant, they with this bringing of this fire. Vayenu, and that was why it says Eish Zara. That's why it's a foreign fire. V'davar zeh yichlul harbei deor, and this includes a lot of what the reasons that were given. And Dad shayush toyayin, that's including the reason of they were drunk. Again, that was because of their arrogance. That's why they didn't get married. And that's why they didn't get married, because again they were arrogant. And that's why they didn't take advice from one another, because they were arrogant. And again, according to the person who said that they were teaching halach in front of Moshe, or not asking Moshe, because if you're arrogant, you're not going to take permission from Moshe. And that also goes according to the opinion that says, you and I will rule. So arrogance really does take a lot of place. I mean, it's that really is what can cause a lot of sins. According to the one who says they have no sons, this also goes according to the Midrash, that says that they were picked on because of the sin of the Egel. When it comes to Avodah Zarah, it says that Hashem will visit the sins of the father on the sons and on the grandsons. But because of the honor of Aaron, so he was very patient. And he was going to collect it from the grandchildren. But because they didn't have any children, so that's why they were killed. They would have had children, their children would have been killed. And perhaps in the time they put down the fire, maybe they were thinking about the fire of the Egel, of the golden calf, Aaron is Zahav, that Aaron threw the gold into them, and the Egel came out, and so they thought, hey, we have Eish Zara, maybe we can pull some other miracle off. And Kalcherur b'simat eish zeh, she has the neish al yado. So that was what they were thinking. Hashem yadam machshvot libam, and Hashem knows the thoughts of their heart. Ki eish zara hemak makrivim lefanav al kain dinam ve'eish. So because they wanted to do a miracle, they thought a miracle would be done via their hands. So Hashem, he made a miracle. He killed them. Okay, that's the end of it. Okay, V'dad ha'omer shelo hayu rechutze yadayim reglayim, and the one who says they didn't wash their hands. This is the last one we'll do. So v'shayinu eish zara. That was because they brought this foreign fire. Shlefi shelo katshu yadayim reglayim. They didn't sanctify the hands of their feet. Made a kiyur from the washing. The kiyur is the basin. V'hayu cholin b'makom kodesh. So they were profane, and they weren't consecrated in a holy place. Nikra Eish Zara. That's why it's called an Eish Zara, foreign fire. Ki Zarod Hafach, just because foreign is the opposite of the kedusha of holiness, as it says, "Chol Zar Lo Yochal Kodesh." that every stranger should not, in other words, every foreigner, non-Kohen, should not eat kodesh, something holy. Therefore, it says a man his fire pan. It's as if their fire pan had no kedusha. And all this is because they didn't wash their hands. They didn't sanctify their hands and the feet. And since they sinned with water, so that's why they were fire. They were punished with fire. That rules in a place there is no fire, and that's so that's why they were to extinguish it. So in places no water to extinguish it, so the fire is there because they didn't use water to sanctify the hands and feet. So that's why Hashem punished them with that. Okay, we'll stop there. Yeah, you had a question.
Yeah,
go ahead. For the world, yeah.
For the there's the when you wake up you wash your hands and then right before you daven you wash your hands again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.